Okay, so the Steam Deck. It's a popular device, and it's been out for quite a long time now, at least as far as the tech space is concerned. With its popularity and with it being out for as long as it has been now, similar to devices like, say, the Quest 2, we're starting to now see third-party companies make accessories for the device, and we're starting to see these accessories pop up more and more. As a YouTuber who covers a lot of gaming and tech-related stuff, it's not uncommon for us to get emails to just take a look at products that companies have for these different devices. And you know, when it comes to the Steam Deck, I kind of have a problem saying no. Whenever I see an accessory that seems different or new to me, I can't help but want to take a look at it. And this video is kind of an accessory roundup, but it's mostly just to talk about some of the accessories that I've accumulated over the last few months for this thing. And, you know, if any of these sound interesting to you, you can check out in the links down below that I'll eventually leave in the description. But yeah, let's just talk about some accessories, shall we? So when it comes to Steam Deck accessories, the number one accessory that I always recommend people to get first thing is some sort of battery bank or some sort of way to extend the battery life of the Steam Deck. Now you can do this in a couple ways. The traditional way is to just simply buy a 45-watt power bank that you can use when on the go, or just to simply extend the battery life of your device. And while I did use a traditional battery bank for quite a while when I first owned the Steam Deck, the main solution that I really enjoy to extend the battery life is something like this kind of attachable power pack that just goes right onto the Steam Deck and makes it one unit. Now, I've already done a video on the power pack itself, so I won't go into too much detail, but the TLDR is it's essentially just a battery bank that can attach to your Steam Deck to make it just one convenient unit, and you don't have to deal with like long USB cables and that sort of thing. This isn't the only option out there for attachable battery packs either. I believe there's a company called Antank that also makes a attachable battery pack, but that one's more of a magnet style, whereas this one kind of just clips right onto the Steam Deck. While having something that can just magnetically attach to the Steam Deck is really cool, I personally went with the Nyko Power Pack just because I could get the accompanied dock to go along with it. Again, I already talked about this stuff in depth in a past video, but essentially I got the power pack and the dock so that I can keep this on at all times, and if I want to dock this and play on my TV, that dock allows me to do so. Speaking of docks, I do think it is definitely worth getting one just because it makes the Steam Deck even more versatile. Now, if you want to get yourself the first-party dock from Valve, that's cool and all, and that's, you know, totally your prerogative if that's what you want to do. For me personally, though, I do think the third-party option is just fine now. I think I have 3 total third-party docks. I obviously have that Nyko one that I talked about earlier. I have this cheap, no-name dock that I used in a past video with a minimalist Steam Deck desktop setup. And then I have the stock from Worky, which I used in a past video, I believe. And, you know, something like this especially kind of shows that just because you're getting a third-party, cheaper option, you don't have to necessarily sacrifice on the build quality. This thing has a nice, like, dense plastic and kind of a aluminum shell, and it's got good ports, and it even has this nice little braided cable that you can tuck away. So there are a lot of options out there, but whether you go the super cheap route or, you know, somewhere in the middle like this, I do think getting a dock is really nice to have just to really make that Steam Deck more versatile. For me, it's nice to have multiple docks so that I can use my Steam Deck on either my computer or multiple TVs throughout the house. Now, while docks are excellent for allowing you to use your Steam Deck on either a TV or, say, at a desktop setup, most of us are going to be using it in its intended handheld fashion for the majority of the time. And because of that, other than trying to extend the Steam Deck's battery life with things like battery banks, I think the next most important thing to invest in is more storage. Now, my Steam Deck is the mid-range Steam Deck, the 250-ish gig internal storage model, and then I paired it with a 256 micro SD card that I just had laying around. I do have a second micro SD card that is primarily only used for emulated games. I basically have the entire N64 library ready to go on that micro SD card. And if I just want to play some retro stuff, I can take that micro SD card, pop it in, and now I have all of those games loaded. It is pretty nice. But I should also mention that while I said I had a 256 gig micro SD card in my Steam Deck, it's not enough. I do regret not forking over the money to get a terabyte micro SD card because games fill up quick, especially if you're trying to play more modern stuff. I mean, geez, even Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield basically will take up the entirety of my Steam Deck if I just wanted to have both of those games on either the internal storage or my micro SD card. And speaking of internal storage, while I haven't done it yet myself, I do intend to eventually upgrade the internal storage of the Steam Deck. Supposedly it's a pretty painless process to just install a higher capacity SSD for the Steam Deck. There's a lot of guides online that I've seen, and essentially all you have to do is once you get that new SSD in there, you just have to basically reinstall SteamOS onto the system and you're good to go. I'll get around to replacing the internal SSD eventually, but for now I'll just stick with high capacity micro SD cards. And yeah, it's just nice to have multiple options at your disposal depending on what you want to do. Now, those accessories are all what I would consider to be, core accessories. Accessories that are worth getting like the first week of getting a Steam Deck. These next accessories that I'm going to talk about, these are more just sort of niceties to have with a Steam Deck, at least some of them. Some of them are just kind of straight up niche and weird and frankly, probably not even worth owning, but they're accessories, so let's talk about them. So first up, you have third-party travel cases. This one in particular coming from the folks at JSOW. Now, getting a third-party travel case is kind of redundant and pointless for probably most people out there just because the Steam Deck comes with a pretty solid first-party case already. However, where third-party cases do kind of come in clutch is the fact that you can find one fitting sort of your niche specifications. This one in particular for me is a lot thicker than what Valve offers with their included Steam Deck case. And having something that can fit my Steam Deck with the power bank as well as even like holding a pair of my earbuds, having that sort of extra room is frankly a necessity for me, especially if I'm going on a long trip or something. Another item that a lot of people might not need but might consider buying is a dedicated controller for the Steam Deck. Now, if you already have an extra Bluetooth compatible controller like a PlayStation or Xbox controller just lying around, obviously that is the more economic route to go with to use with your Steam Deck if you're using it in docked mode or something. For me personally though, I wanted to pick up something that was dedicated for my Steam Deck when playing it in my bedroom. This particular controller right here is the 8-bit Do Ultimate Wireless Controller. I've already done a video on this controller, but really the main thing that attracted me to this controller over just using, say, like a Bluetooth controller was the fact that, one, obviously it has that Xbox layout, which is something I really wanted for my Steam Deck, but it also has a 2.4 gigahertz dongle that I can plug into my dock. So just having that little bit of improved latency is really nice for me. And with this included charging dock, just having it on my nightstand is just kind of a really convenient thing to have, and it's always ready to go whenever I want to play Steam Deck on the TV. Now this guy right here is kind of the crux of me not being able to say no to products. This is an external fan for the Steam Deck by the folks over at Easy SMX. I made a video on this in the past, just like a lot of the other stuff here. I don't really like to talk bad about the product itself just because it does technically perform as advertised. It just sits on top of your Steam Deck's exhaust vent, and it just, with the fan inside, it just sort of helps suck the air out and kind of just moves air faster. So, yeah. I don't know why you would want to use this though. It does keep things a little cooler, but it doesn't really affect performance, at least with my testing anyway. And also, I mean, you can hear that fan noise, right? It's just, why would you want to play with that? And lastly, for those of you who are making a Steam Deck desktop setup similar to some of the ones that I've made in past videos, you may want to consider getting yourself some sort of speaker or soundbar for your setup. This particular speaker from BenQ is called the Trevolo U. And now look, I'm going to be completely honest here. As a portable speaker, as a speaker itself, it is fantastic. It is really solidly built. It sounds pretty damn nice, and I really liked using this thing as a portable speaker. My contact at BenQ wanted me to kind of talk about this as an accessory for the Steam Deck, and while it can be used as a speaker for a Steam Deck in sort of a desktop-like fashion, I just don't think it's worth the cost. At $209, I believe, is the current price for this thing. While it's a great little portable speaker, I just think that you're better off going a different route as far as just using it for a speaker. Because here's the thing, the Trevolo U was initially made for sort of distant learning. It was made as an accessory to kind of help give lectures, help have better call experiences and that sort of thing. I mean, even the cover of the box says make your learning safe. And it's funny because just from that aspect, from using it in more of like an e-learning standpoint, or like a sort of maybe a conference call device, or if you're trying to use something for like a work at home thing, this could work out pretty well. The microphone isn't great on it, but it does a nice job at being able to allow you to hear the voice really well out of the speaker while also being able to just utilize the built-in microphone. It's kind of a nice little portable 2-in-1 option that you can use with a PC or your phone. Now, using the Trevola U with the Steam Deck, I was hoping that I could use this as a portable speaker but also utilize the microphone for chat, because the built-in microphone on the Steam Deck just is not very ideal because you just constantly hear all of the buttons being pressed and everything like that. So I thought, oh, this would be kind of cool to use. Unfortunately, with all of my testing that I've done and all of the research that I've looked into with this thing, I can't simultaneously use the microphone and the speaker. I can use this sort of functionality with, say, my phone or the computer, but for whatever reason with the Steam Deck, I don't know if it's like a Linux thing or if it's just not, actually optimized for that. You can't seem to get that functionality out of it. If something changes or I get corrected, I'll post a pinned comment or something. But yeah, if you want something that is just a portable speaker for your Steam Deck, I would look into something like, say, I think it's the Anker Soundcore 2. That's one that I had for a while that was pretty solid and it worked as a nice Bluetooth speaker option. But yeah, like I said, this awesome device made by BenQ, but for a Steam Deck accessory, nah, I'd pass. And yeah, that about does it for this one, everyone. Thank you as always for watching the video and checking out the channel. Kind of a weird one, I know, just kind of going over my weird collection of accessories that I've accumulated over the last handful of months for the Steam Deck. But yeah, if anything seemed compelling or interesting to you at all, check the description down below. I'll make sure to leave Amazon links for all that stuff. Also, for those of you who kind of follow the channel somewhat regularly, I'm going to be taking a small break from posting long-form content. Expect some shorts and that sort of thing throughout my break, but yeah, I'm going to be taking like a 2 to maybe 3 week break of just posting long-form videos. Honestly, just kind of burnt out from some of the stuff, and I've worked really hard on the last couple videos. I don't know, maybe the videos aren't as good as I thought they were, or maybe it's something to do with the algorithm. Not sure, but the point is they really didn't perform how I wanted to, so I just kind of need to take a break, kind of refresh, reset, and we'll be back eventually making kind of the regular videos. So thank you all so much for watching. My name is Blake, and for all things tech, games, to anything nerdy in between, be sure and subscribe to Digital Cynics. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next time.